Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learn and Talk podcast. We're very happy to have you with us today. If you're someone who wants to improve your English while also improving your life, today's episode is perfect for you. Our topic is how to build healthy habits.
That's right, Emma. Healthy habits are not only important for our bodies and minds, but they also play a big role in how we learn English every day. Small habits can create big results.
In this episode, we'll talk about building habits step by step, using simple English, real examples, and modern ideas that fit into busy daily life.
And before we start, we'd like to ask you something. If you enjoy learning English through real conversations like this, please like this video and leave a comment below.
Tell us one healthy habit you want to build, or one habit you're struggling with right now. Your comments help us connect with you and help this channel grow.
Stay with us until the end, listen carefully, and let's learn how to build healthy habits while learning English fast and naturally.
Daniel, many people want to build healthy habits, but they don't know where to start. They often say things like, I try to change my habits, but I fail, or I start strong and then stop. This can be very discouraging. So my first question is, what does it really mean to build healthy habits, especially for people who are also learning English daily? Please explain the idea of habit building using modern expressions such as start small, be consistent, and build routines. Also, explain grammar structures that learners can use to talk about habits, such as the present simple tense and adverbs of frequency like every day, usually, and often. Finally, how can learners talk about habit failure in a positive way without feeling ashamed or giving up?
Emma, building healthy habits is not about big changes. It is about small actions repeated consistently. Many people think habits must be dramatic, but in reality, habits are simple behaviors that we do regularly. In English, we usually describe habits using the present simple tense. For example, I drink water every morning, I walk after dinner, or I practice English every day. These sentences describe routines, not goals. Starting small is very important. A learner might say, I usually study English for 10 minutes. The adverb usually shows a regular habit without pressure. Consistency matters more than duration. 10 minutes every day is better than 2 hours once a week. Building routines means attaching a new habit to an existing one. For example, after I wake up, I stretch for 5 minutes. This sentence uses after to show sequence and structure. Many learners feel ashamed when they fail. They say, I stopped my habit again. A healthier sentence is, I missed a day, but I will continue tomorrow. The future form will show intention and resilience. Grammar helps learners talk kindly about habits. Using sometimes, such as I sometimes skip my routine, shows honesty without judgment. Habits are not perfect, they are flexible. Learners can also use the present perfect tense to see long-term progress, such as I have built better habits this month. This focuses on improvement, not mistakes. In short, building healthy habits means starting small, repeating daily, and speaking about progress positively. When learners use English to describe habits clearly and kindly, they build both language skills and a healthier lifestyle.
Daniel, another challenge people face is staying consistent with healthy habits. Many people know what they should do, but they don't do it regularly. They say things like, I lose motivation quickly, or I can't stay consistent. So my next question is, how can learners stay consistent when building healthy habits, especially while learning English every day? Please include useful expressions such as stay consistent, build discipline, and create a routine. Also, explain grammar structures related to motivation and plans such as using want and need to and be going to. Additionally, how can learners talk about low motivation honestly without being negative or blaming themselves?
Emma, consistency comes from systems, not motivation. Motivation changes, but routines stay. Learners often say, I want to build healthy habits. This shows desire. But desire alone is not enough. A stronger sentence is, I need to build a routine. The phrase need to shows importance. Planning habits also helps consistency. Learners can say, I am going to exercise in the morning. The structure be going to shows a planned action. Low motivation is normal. Instead of saying, I am lazy, learners can say, I feel tired this week. This describes a temporary state, not a permanent problem. Using the present continuous shows that feelings can change. Building discipline means acting even when motivation is low. Learners can say, I practice even when I don't feel motivated. This sentence shows maturity and self-control. Creating routines also reduces decision-making. When habits happen at the same time each day, they become automatic. Learners can say, I study at the same time every day. This sentence describes stability. Grammar supports positive thinking. Using because helps explain reasons, such as I stay consistent because my habits are simple. Tracking habits also helps. Learners can say, I have stayed consistent this week. This present perfect sentence highlights success. In conclusion, consistency is built through planning, routine, and positive language. When learners talk about habits realistically and kindly, they stay consistent and confident.
Daniel, my final question is about long-term habit building. Many people build healthy habits for a short time, but they struggle to keep them for months or years. They say things like, I always go back to my old habits. So my question is, how can learners build healthy habits that last long-term? Please include expressions such as long-term habits, lifestyle change, and sustainable routines. Also, explain grammar related to future thinking, such as using will and conditional sentences like if, will. Finally, how can learners talk about long-term change with confidence and patience?
Emma, long-term habit building requires patience and identity change. Healthy habits should become part of a lifestyle, not a temporary challenge. Learners can say, healthy habits are part of my life. This present simple sentence shows permanence. Thinking about the future also helps. Learners can say, I will continue this habit. The modal verb will shows commitment. Conditional sentences are also useful. For example, if I stay consistent, I will see results. This structure shows cause and effect. Sustainable routines are flexible. Learners should adjust habits when life changes. They can say, I change my routine when needed. This sentence shows adaptability. Old habits sometimes return. Instead of saying, I failed again, learners can say, I returned to an old habit, but I am starting again. This shows resilience. Tracking long-term progress is also important. Learners can use the present perfect tense, such as I have maintained this habit for 3 months. This builds confidence. Language shapes mindset. Learners who say, I am building a healthier lifestyle, see habits as growth, not pressure. The present continuous shows ongoing development. In conclusion, long-term habits require patience, flexibility, and positive self-talk. When learners describe long-term change calmly and confidently, they build habits that last and improve both their English and their lives.
Daniel, many people understand what healthy habits are, but they struggle to replace unhealthy habits. They say things like, I know this habit is bad for me, but I can't stop, or I try to change, but I always go back. This situation is very common and often makes people feel frustrated or weak. So my question is, how can learners replace unhealthy habits with healthy ones in a realistic way? Please include useful expressions such as break a bad habit, replace habits, and make better choices. These phrases are often used in modern self-improvement conversations. Also, explain grammar structures that learners can use to talk about habits and change, such as negative sentences, contrast words like instead of, and cause and effect structures using because and so. Finally, how can learners talk about unhealthy habits honestly without feeling ashamed or judged?
Emma, replacing unhealthy habits is more effective than simply trying to stop them. When people try to quit a habit without replacing it, they often fail because the habit serves a purpose. In English, learners can talk about unhealthy habits using negative sentences, such as I don't eat enough vegetables or I don't sleep early. These sentences describe behavior without emotion or blame. To replace habits, learners should focus on alternatives. A useful structure is instead of. For example, instead of checking my phone before bed, I read for 10 minutes. This sentence shows a clear replacement, not a restriction. Cause and effect structures are also helpful. Learners can say, I feel tired because I sleep late, so I am changing my routine. This sentence connects awareness to action. Breaking a bad habit takes time. Learners should talk about the process, not perfection. Instead of saying, I can't stop this habit, They can say, I am working on changing this habit. The present continuous tense shows progress. Healthy choices are built gradually. Learners can say, I make better choices during the day. This present simple sentence shows repetition and growth. Talking honestly about unhealthy habits requires kindness. Learners can say, this habit is not good for me, but I am learning to change it. The word but shows hope and direction. Grammar supports mindset. Using phrases like I am learning to or I am trying to helps learners speak without pressure. In conclusion, replacing unhealthy habits means understanding behavior, choosing alternatives, and using positive language. When learners describe change as a process, they feel empowered instead of ashamed.
Daniel, my next question focuses on habit building and identity. Many people try to build healthy habits, but deep inside, they don't see themselves as healthy or disciplined. They say things like, I am not that kind of person, or I can't stick to habits. This mindset often stops progress before it begins. So my question is, how does mindset and identity affect building healthy habits? Please include modern expressions such as change your mindset, build a healthy identity, and see yourself differently. Also, explain grammar structures that help learners talk about identity and change, such as using I am statements, present simple for identity, and present continuous for personal growth. Finally, how can learners change the way they talk about themselves in English to support healthier habits?
Emma, mindset and identity play a huge role in habit building. People act in ways that match how they see themselves. If someone says, I am lazy, their actions often follow that belief. Grammar matters here. The present simple tense, such as I am unhealthy or I am not disciplined, describes identity, not behavior. To build healthy habits, learners must change how they describe themselves. A powerful sentence is, I am becoming a healthier person. The present continuous tense shows growth and development. This small grammar change creates a big mindset shift. Healthy identity is built through repeated action and positive language. Learners can say, I am someone who cares about my health. This sentence reinforces identity. Changing mindset also means changing inner dialogue. Instead of saying, I can't stick to habits, learners can say, I am learning to stay consistent. This sentence removes limitation and adds possibility. Using I am statements carefully is important. Learners should avoid permanent labels and use flexible ones. For example, I am improving my habits is better than I am bad at habits. Language supports confidence. Learners who say, I choose healthy habits, feel more control over their actions. Identity change is slow but powerful. Learners can say, I see myself differently now. This sentence shows reflection and maturity. In conclusion, habits follow identity. When learners use English to describe themselves positively and realistically, they create habits that match their new mindset. Healthy habits begin with healthy language.
Daniel, many people start building healthy habits with strong energy, but after a few weeks, they feel bored or tired of repeating the same actions. They often say things like, my habits feel boring now, or I lose interest quickly. This boredom can cause people to quit even good habits. So my question is, how can learners keep healthy habits interesting and engaging over time? Please include useful expressions such as avoid boredom, refresh your routine, and keep habits interesting. These phrases are common in modern conversations about personal growth. Also, explain grammar structures that learners can use to talk about change and variety, such as using sometimes, occasionally, and phrases like from time to time. Finally, how can learners talk about boredom honestly without feeling guilty or unmotivated?
Emma, boredom is a normal part of habit building. When a habit becomes routine, it may feel less exciting, but that does not mean it is ineffective. Learners can talk about this using honest language, such as I feel bored with my routine sometimes. The adverb sometimes shows that boredom is temporary, not permanent. To avoid boredom, learners should refresh their routine from time to time. For example, instead of saying, I exercise every day in the same way, they can say, I occasionally change my workout. The adverb occasionally shows variety without breaking consistency. Keeping habits interesting does not mean changing goals. It means changing methods. Learners can say, I try new ways to practice English. This sentence shows curiosity and flexibility. Grammar helps express balance. Using but can connect ideas, such as my routine is simple, but it works. This shows maturity and understanding. Talking about boredom without guilt is important. Instead of saying, I am weak because I feel bored, learners can say, I feel bored, so I am adjusting my routine. The word so shows problem solving, not failure. Learners can also use the present continuous to show active improvement, such as I am experimenting with new habits. This shows engagement and growth. Boredom often means the habit is becoming automatic, which is actually a success. Learners can say, this habit feels normal now. That sentence shows integration into daily life. In conclusion, boredom is not a signal to quit, it is a signal to adjust. When learners refresh routines and talk about boredom calmly, they keep healthy habits strong and sustainable.
Daniel, my final question is about setbacks. Many people experience stress, illness, or busy periods that interrupt their healthy habits. They say things like, I lost all my progress or I ruined my routine. This kind of thinking often causes people to stop completely. So my question is, how should learners handle setbacks while building healthy habits? Please include expressions such as get back on track, handle setbacks, and start again. Also, explain grammar structures that help learners talk about mistakes and recovery, such as past simple for setbacks and future forms like will for restarting. Finally, how can learners change the way they talk about setbacks so they feel encouraged instead of defeated?
Emma, setbacks are a normal part of building healthy habits. They are not signs of failure. They are part of the process. Learners can describe setbacks using the past simple tense, such as I missed my routine last week or I stopped exercising for a few days. These sentences describe facts, not identity. The problem usually comes from interpretation. Learners say, I ruined everything. A healthier sentence is, I had a setback, but I am starting again. The word but shifts the focus to recovery. Getting back on track is more important than being perfect. Learners can say, I will continue tomorrow. The future form will show decision and commitment. Language shapes emotions. When learners say, I lost all my progress, they feel defeated. A better sentence is, I paused my habit, and now I am restarting. This removes drama and adds control. Using conditional sentences also helps. For example, if I stop for a few days, I will restart gently. This shows preparation and self-trust. Learners should avoid extreme language like always and never. Instead of saying, I always fail, they can say, I sometimes struggle. This keeps setbacks realistic. Setbacks can also teach lessons. Learners can say, I learned what caused my setback. This sentence shows growth and reflection. In conclusion, healthy habits are built through restarting, not perfection. When learners talk about setbacks calmly and positively, they stay resilient, confident, and consistent in the long term.
Throughout this podcast series, we explored how personal growth and English learning can work together in daily life. Whether we talked about time management, productivity, motivation, learning English every day, or building healthy habits, one message stayed the same. Real improvement comes from small, consistent actions. You do not need perfect plans or extreme effort to change your life or your English. What truly matters is showing up regularly, even when motivation is low. Daily habits, short practice sessions, and realistic goals create long-term progress. Mistakes, setbacks, and slow days are not failures. They are part of the learning process. We also learned that language shapes mindset. The way you speak about your habits, your time, and your English ability affects how you feel and how you act. Using positive, flexible language helps build confidence and resilience. Grammar is not only a set of rules, it is a tool for expressing growth, intention, and self-belief. Finally, success in both life and language comes from balance. Rest, flexibility, and patience are just as important as discipline. When you build habits that fit your real life, learning becomes natural and sustainable. Keep learning a little every day. Keep improving one step at a time. And remember, consistency, not perfection, is the key to lasting change.